Hey everybody, Jimmy from the Triple C Collective here on another Sci-Fi Sunday for Kenobi Part 4. Kenobi has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed this series a lot. It's raining, so I'm trying to talk as loud as I can to kind of keep that out of it. So I'm sorry if you hear that in the background. It is what it is. I've tried and I can't wait any longer. But anyhow, episode opens with a great little like fever dream of transferring Obi-Wan from like basically where Tala got him at the end of episode 3 after battling Vader, getting him in a transport ship, and he's like coming in and out. It's all blurry and everything like that. It's great getting him on his way basically to a Bacta tank that we've seen a lot of. If you watched Book of Boba Fett, it was all over that show, which was really cool. I'm not knocking that at all. But we see it here. We basically get it to him, to Obi-Wan getting put in there, and he has that same kind of burn going down his right arm and everything, where like Anakin lost most of his right arm, and but also burned. It was cool. It was cool to see it, but he's while he's actually like in the tank, this is one of the coolest things. Is once we get there and he's in the tank, we get a couple of really great like intercutting shots of both Obi-Wan being in his back to tank, and then a Vader Anakin Skywalker being in his back to tank, and it's just great. It's just great because they're both like wincing and stuff at like, you don't know if they're wincing at getting healing because they're intercutting it all so well that is it their like force connection now, like that they're feeling that as well. Is it actually the are they feeling each other's like pain basically right here, and that's what's like triggering all of this, or what? Like I don't really know, but it was really cool. It was a really cool like sequence here for like a couple of minutes and stuff, and it was great. I loved it. It was so much fun. But Obi-Wan pops up out of the tank and is like, "Where's Leia?" Trying to figure out where she went, because obviously in his battle he knew that he wasn't going to be with Leia right away, but Leia wasn't like readily there, and he didn't see her like in his fever dream or anything. Like you can see that. So where is she? Then we get to the Inquisitors holding in Noor, yeah, I think it is. And like we get Riva, we got Riva versus Leia, and they go a couple of rounds here, and it's awesome. I love it so much. It is so cool. I just love this scene. Like Princess Leia is like, like I am a princess. Well, this is the start of them going round for round and stuff. But this first one is, Leia's just like, I'm a princess of Alderaan, like, and Reva's like, you have no rights here, like, nobody's coming for you, and Leia won't even say Obi-Wan's name, which is really interesting here. She just goes, "He will come for me," um, which is great. Like which is great, but it's definitely an interesting choice, like having the lack of Obi-Wan, like withholding Obi-Wan's name there. It's definitely a choice to do it, and I don't know. I'm not knocking it. Again, I thought it was cool. I thought this was great. Uh, you know, Riva telling her that she has no no rights there. Awesome. Then we get the cut back to the Roken O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character, who, by the way, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son, awesome. I love that. Like, the first time I saw him in anything was obviously Straight Outta Compton, the biopic that like where he portrayed his dad in. But from there, like the dude has just made a right turn into just making genre films and and like just doing genre stuff, and it's awesome. Like he has a little bit in Godzilla, King of Monsters, King of the Monsters or whatever, whatever that title. I love the movie. I just like King of the Monsters, King of Monsters, whatever it was. He's in that. He was really good. I think he shows back up in Godzilla vs Kong, and then he's here in Obi-Wan now. So like he's just making this turn into like some genre filmmaking, and every time he pops up on screen, I'm always just like I'm always delighted. I don't know why. I just love seeing him. And so like seeing him as Roken here, and like being the guy that's kind of like running people in and out and kind of like running this operation that they have going on here is really sweet. Because I would just like Kumail Nanjiani, like again being another part of this like underground like path, helping people out, getting people out and stuff. Like it was really neat to see them show up and like how they're being used in it as well. Like I thought Kumail would easily be like a Jedi or a Sith or something, but he's neither, which was great. And here Roken, like he's just the dude that gets it done. Like he's running everything. He's running all the ships, the operations, the hangar. It's so cool. It's so great. Uh, he and Obi-Wan don't really go at it, but kind of do. Like Obi-Wan's like, she's just a little girl. I need help finding her, and he's like, anyone who can move a rock needs my help. Like get to the back, get to the back. There's nothing I can do for you right now. And then Talia does say like, hey, like Rogan, she knows everything. She knows about she knows about the path. She knows about what we're doing here and saving people. Like we need to get, if there is a person we need to get that is a young child that we need to get right now, like and like go after, it is her, because she holds a lot of knowledge of stuff, which is kind of very interesting, a very interesting parallel in the fact that like unknowingly she has all of this knowledge the same way that probably R2 unknowingly in A New Hope, episode 4, had all of his information. It was just like, go deliver this to Obi-Wan. So all of this has been great. I really have been loving Obi-Wan. The little girl I think who's playing Leia has been a lot of fun. I think she's been great. Like she's a little girl, and I believe her emotions. I don't think anytime. I don't know. I think she's good. I think this whole show is good. I've really enjoyed it. But the Empire, like the Empire is what Obi-Wan is saying. Like Roken doesn't understand or doesn't know what they can do, and Roken, like, it's awesome. Like O'Shea Jackson Jr. throws his like rag down, like turns around, throws his rag down, and it's like, I had a wife, I knew what she was like when we got together and everything. We still tried to hide it best we could. The Inquisitor still came and killed her, and and it's like, so don't tell me that I don't know what the Empire can or can't do. I know exactly what they can do. And then it's in that moment where after he says it out loud himself, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Roken's character, as soon as he says it, he's like, all right, I can help. Of course I can help. How can I help? How are we going to get this little girl back? Because he's not going to let he's not going to let some other innocent life like just die. He's going to do something about it because he can do something about it. It's cool. It was cool. I really enjoyed this. And this whole episode has been great. This whole series has been great. I love on how they've been expanding Star Wars, obviously with Mandalorian, like, which has been just like so fantastic. And then the like Book of Boba Fett, which has also been really really good. I really like that. Kenobi here has been great. Not even good. There's no need to mention the animated stuff because it is just so good. Go watch it. It speaks for itself. And but they go to O'Shea Jackson Jr. pulls up a planetary look basically of Noor, and then it goes to the tower. It's a big like triangular building basically that goes underwater. We find out that it's like a water planet or a water moon or something, and so it goes underwater. Big old building, and nobody knows how to get in or out of it. There's no shields for it because nobody would really try and fight, or nobody would not necessarily fight, but nobody would really try and attack that because it's in the Mustafar system, which is the system that Vader lives in, on Mustafar. And so nobody would really go there, and that's why that's there. It's the Inquisitor, like a holding cell, basically, like HQ, and so it's not super far for I guess Vader to travel and to work there or whatever. But it's also very easy for anyone to get him, and that's where they operate out of. So like, they were like, we need to figure out how to get in there, and we don't know. We can't spare this. Like we can't spare the T-47s. We can't spare that stuff. We need it here. We need it to be here with us. And during all of this, it's great. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and God, I think the dude's name is Wade, and I can't think about the other female pilot. Can't recall her name right now. And they are, all planning this out. And then finally, Tala says, like, hey, I'll take him. I'll fly him. And they're like, and like, Obi-Wan's the first one to be like, well, hey, is your clearance still good? Well, we'll find out. It's worth a shot. I've got X level clearance. I can, walk my way, talk my way through almost any place, almost any level on this place, and definitely access like terminals due to just like my current status. And if I'm still intact, then that's even better and works to our advantage. And so once Tala says that, they join and they start heading off. In their little like traveling, just Tala and Obi-Wan heading to Noor. Tala drops great knowledge on Obi-Wan and says, like, recovery is not just like always physical, like not just always like your burns and stuff, like it's also the mental scars of the past and everything like that, like, and working your way through that. So make sure you do that as well. It's not because she sees Obi-Wan trying and struggling to use the Force, which is kind of what we see. Like we saw it that like he caught Leia, yes, when she fell earlier in like episode 2, maybe 1. We see that she does fall, but she like falls like inches from the ground. Whereas somebody where we hear, so like from what we know, Obi-Wan from the original trilogy prequels up until this point is super powerful. He should be able to catch her with relative ease and even like tilt her forward, like tilt her upright to have her land on her feet and then just have her walk away, or even just pull her all the way back up. Either way, he really seems to struggle with it, which is a question that I posed in one of our earlier episodes. Did he at that point, was he cut off like really from the Force and everything like that? And then in that moment, needing to reconnect and be there for her in order to help her, he did. Um, that might also be why why they say like the years have made you weak, old man, and stuff. I don't know, certain questions to have, but like this is all of that stuff of like him even just struggling to move like the little communicator like thing. It could have been his lightsaber, but it didn't look like it. It looked like one of the little like square communicator fobs that they use or whatever. Either way, we get a cut back to the holding cell. We get Reva walking around, interrogating Leia some more, being like, there was, where we found you, there was two other networks referring to the path, and then she throws down the rebellion symbol. First time we see that again, or like one of the first times that we see it here in Kenobi. It is the first time we see it here in Kenobi. Well, no, we saw it in episode 3, but the path. It appearing in the path and in this idea of people trying to get people out safely, helping remaining Jedis, and all of that, trying to band together to like form something against the Empire, all starts here and all starts with that, and it's really great to see that. Like it's just always fun to see that stuff, because that's the neat nods and little Easter eggs that you can throw into a show like this that doesn't like. I don't think it messes up like the canon history or whatever, but I don't really get hung up on a lot of that stuff anyhow. This though, they're back at Reva is interrogating Leia and like really laying into her. Like, we found these two other systems, and then we found this where you were. Leia's like, she's like, just tell us, tell us now, where are they, like, what, help us find them, because they abandoned you, they're not coming back for you, and like he's dead. And then Leia's like, how'd he die? He burned to death, and then he was left there to die. And it's very eerily the same as Anakin Skywalker, defeated by Obi-Wan and then just kind of left there to die. And then the Emperor comes to get him and take him back and everything. Yeah, tough. It's real tough. So we get the safe house and letting him burn. And Leia's just like, I don't know anything about the path. And, Reva's like, think harder. It's great. It's great. That whole little interrogation scene was really fun and really awesome. We get the arrival then on Nier. We get Tala walking in through like the hangar bay and all of that, getting ID'd at the security checkpoint, and putting that dude into his own check of, I am your commanding officer, so you will refer to me as sir. Yes, sir, but this isn't your sector, sir. Well, I have classified information for the Grand Inquisitor. Silence. It was awesome. It was so good just seeing the silence, and then the guy just being like, oh, damn it. Okay, sure, we can do this. And, Tala, cool, calm, and collected the entire time. She just stated her case and was like, I outrank you, so you gotta be real sure you want to do this today. And she basically gets through with that Grand Inquisitor line being like, hey, do you really want to keep me from him? Do you? And at this point, it's interesting because we know that the Grand Inquisitor was killed by Reva. but I don't know if anybody else knows on like Vader's side, on the Empire's side, if any of them or any other Inquisitors know that she actually killed the Grand Inquisitor, because I'm pretty sure she was by herself when she killed. I mean, she was with Obi-Wan and Leia as they were escaping, but like I'm pretty sure she was by herself. I don't think the fifth brother showed up until after that, after they were gone, and the Grand Inquisitor would have been dead. Um, so yeah, that is that is. Oh, excuse me. We get we get Tala walking through, telling the commanding officer, refer to me as Sir. And I'm sorry, I just went off on that whole Grand Inquisitor thing. Tala is in, Obi-Wan. She signals to Obi-Wan, I'm in. Obi-Wan then enters through the water, and like she opens up a like little pod basically entrance, like waterway pod entrance for Obi-Wan to pop through. He does, he makes a noise or whatever in the other room. The stormtrooper guarding that gate or that door comes inside there and then has the wonderfully rude awakening by getting beat up by Obi-Wan, and then thrown into that same water port to get tossed outside or possibly eaten by fish that climbed in there or whatever other animal that could have climbed in there. So it's really great. It's really awesome. I love those kind of scenes, seeing that stuff in Star Wars of the sneak like attack or whatever. I guess I don't know if there's a better name to call it. If there is, let me know. But seeing them do that like in times like this when they're trying to sneak around and like infiltrate like different compounds or ships or whatever it is that the Jedis do, it's always fun to see this. It's always fun to see little stuff like that. We get the cut back to that like holding cell interrogation room again. This is my favorite part. This is where Leia really turns it on, and because we get it and we're staring at on Leia, like the camera is just looking at her, and it's just blank, and she's like, "Is this a staring contest?" And her saying that is hilarious. It's so funny to me, and it pisses Reva off, third sister, so much. So much. And this back and forth is really what I was talking about before, of like the back and forth that's so cool. Is like this is like really where it starts before it's really interesting. It really almost seems like Leia is trying to decipher good and bad information that's being relayed to her during most of that. But here is where she tries to like really just try and get underneath Reva's skin, which is also like really funny and an interesting play to make. But then Reva's like, "Oh yeah, you're strong. You're braver. You seem you're braver more so than you seem afraid. Like that's good." And Leia's just like, like just kind of nodding along. And Lola, her little pancake droid, basically goes out and goes after Reva, and Reva just catches it with the Force. Still, one of the coolest things ever is catching that blaster bolt in The Force Awakens. That's still a really sweet shot. Keeping it there, Kylo Ren doing that, and then just having it like drop or shoot or whatever, shoot off in the other direction. But like having it like stop there. Still one of the coolest shots that I'd like to ever be put into Star Wars. It's up there. It's up there for me. We leave the interrogation room because or not because, but we leave the interrogation room. Tala's at a computer terminal now, and she's accessing the whole compound to figure out like where things are. She's like, this place is huge. What are they keeping down there? Obi-Wan just responds like, where is she? And Tala's like, just keep heading north. Like, let me figure out the rest of this. Obi-Wan's like, there's seeker droids, and she's like, yep, there's a lot. You got to be careful. And we get another like Imperial, like probably equivalent or equal to Talia. To Tala, it seems, is questioning her then for her own ID, and is like, hey, this isn't your terminal. Where's your ID? Let me see your ID or whatever. So she goes off. There is Tala and this other guy go off, and there is a nice little tussle where she like chokes him out and stuff, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's so good. Oh man, it's so cool. Then we get the hallway scene with Obi-Wan and Leia with the stormtroopers. Or I'm sorry, not with Leia yet. This is just the hallway with the stormtroopers and Obi-Wan trying to get to Leia, and he's hiding out in like one of the like side rafter kind of things. I can't really describe it as anything else other than that. It's like a side rafter, and Obi-Wan's hiding out in there to stay away from like the stormtroopers and stuff. And then Tala calls, because he's been calling Tala during her tussle with the other Imperial guard that she like killed or knocked out or whatever. And in his tussle, in our fight or whatever, in that with the stormtroopers, it's really great. Well, he was hiding out to avoid it. Tala calls him on the comm to finally respond. The stormtroopers hear it, but this is the first time because he's been trying to practice reusing the Force. So again, it's one of those things, I don't know if he cut himself off from the Force or if he just stopped using it. And then it's like, at that point, it's like a bicycle. You just got to kind of get used to it. And then once you start riding again, then you're off. And that might be what's happening here, because here he's able to throw like sound or like feel something that's farther away and knock it over to make a sound that makes the stormtroopers then go running away and off into the off in the other direction away from Obi-Wan, so that he is finally able to leave those rafters and then move on to his next thing. We get a cut back to the hallway, or not the hallway, the holding cell. We get the notification, Kenobi gone. People trying to, we get Reva saying, Kenobi gone. People trying to protect you, not coming for you. Tell me where they are. We are all on the same side, Reva is saying, okay? And then Leia's like, okay. I don't want anyone to get hurt. And Reva's like, you have my word that nobody will get hurt from this, that this will all be good. Nobody will get into trouble or anything. Nobody will be killed, anything like that. Leia's like, okay. But first I have to tell my father, because you said we're all on the same side, right? So I've got to tell my father about this as well. And that's when Reva kind of snaps a little bit and is like, well, I hope you like pain, and nice try, princess. And oh man, it's funny. It's really funny. Now, this is like, basically we're starting to get to the last little like act of the episode here, We get intercuts between like Obi-Wan entering a new level. Leia is taken out of the holding cell and into some like almost the only way I can describe it is it almost looks like a carbonite kind of like experimental surgery Star Wars chair. Is like really the best way that I can describe it. So we see that. We get a cut back to Obi-Wan, and he sees an old Jedi in what I can only describe as an amber-like substance, or maybe even a solid now at that point, like the mosquitoes that held the dino DNA that Hammond even like polished into the top of like his little walking cane or whatever, his little walking stick there. Um, we get, we get that here, and we start seeing Jedi in there. We get a cut back to Reva just screaming at her, "Tell me what I want to know. Tell me what I want to know." We get Leia, just being like, "What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me?" And Reva's just like, the same thing the same thing to everyone who does not embrace the Empire. And we get a quick cut back to Obi-Wan now. What we notice from Obi-Wan is that he has actually found all of the captured Jedi that Vader and the Inquisitors have been capturing, and not like killing and like just burning at the pyre, or like burning on like a pyre or whatever, and not just like burying them 6 feet under, literally holding them in like an amber like looking substance that they are being held in, and that are like I don't know. I don't know why once you defeat them / kill them, why you would keep them there, unless Vader is somehow connected to that and he's able to like pull more of like the Force from them. That would be weird. I wouldn't be surprised, but that would be weird. So it is weird. It is interesting. But we got those intercuts. We got the like we get Obi-Wan finding the fallen Jedi, and we also get Reva now yelling back at Leia, "Say something," like, because Reva still hasn't gotten any real straight answers from Leia about anything that Leia may or may not know about the path or anything that's going on. And here, Reva's like, "Say something," and Leia's like, "I'll never tell you." "I'll never tell you. There's nothing you can do to make me tell you. I'll never tell you anything." And Reva's just like, "Okay, you've made your own choice then." And it's great. It's so good. I love Leia going like really just pissing Reva off like all the time. Like, it is just so much fun and so great to to just see. We see Obi-Wan finally getting to the younglings that are frozen in that amber-like liquid or whatever looking stuff. At that same time, he hears a scream from Leia, and then he asks Tala for a distraction. We get our first glimpse now at Tala versus Reva. Reva, is like, "I'm looking for the path." Like, Tala and Reva are together because that's what stops us. Reva stops torturing Leia enough so that it stops torturing Leia because she gets an urgent message that has to be taken care of now, and it's coming from Tala. And Tala is telling Reva that she was on Mapuzo stationed there. She's a senior ranking officer. Riva's like, you should be dispatched and like fired and getting taken out of here. But Tala is like, no, I've been working on it. I've been trying to do all of I've been working on stuff. I've been trying to infiltrate the path. He's on Florum in the sector in the cedar in the yeah Satir Sertar, yeah, in the Sertar sector. And Riva's like, oh yeah, this is great. I appreciate all that information that you're laying on me. Yeah, Obi-Wan's on Florum, the Seder sector, and all of that. And of course, like, you could be telling me this all because you're lying to me. We get a cut back to the experiment room. Obi-Wan has arrived, cuts the lights. We see Leia in her chair type thing and a stormtrooper on either side with some, like, so it's all basically all black with some, like, random, probably, like, emergency exit type red light that's, like, shining in the room. And then we get Obi-Wan lighting up his blue lightsaber. Vroom. And, oh, man, it's just a cool shot. It's just a cool couple of shots of him taking out those two stormtroopers. It's so much fun. It's so cool. It looks so great. It is a blast. And I just love it. I just love it. We get back to Tala and Riva's like circling Tala, and it's like, I knew we would have like some people from like who would be working against the Empire get in, it was just a matter of time. But like, these people here getting past a checkpoint doesn't make sense unless, of course, you're a spy. And this is all Riva directing this towards Tala. And Tala's like, of course I'm a spy. Like, I was undercover for 2 years. I was hiding in there. I was trying to get in. I got in. And then once Obi-Wan showed up, they all panicked. They all started to freak out. And it like, I don't know. I thought Tala was a friend, but like, she may not be here. And but it was awesome to see that Tala and Riva were going at it again. Like, this was a good sparring episode for Riva. She was really going at it with like Leia, and then she's really going at it with like Tala here. And Tala's like, yeah, once Obi-Wan Kenobi showed up, they all panicked. I was able to get inside and see everything. And Riva's like, you expect me to believe you? And, Tala's like, he's on Florum. I'm telling you, he's on Florum. Then we get Obi-Wan being spotted by a Seeker. And all of that starts going off. But it hasn't reached Riva and Tala yet, that Obi-Wan like through like main speakers or anything like that, or even just like a comm to the room. They haven't been notified that yet. We end this little like sequence here with Riva being like, I don't know if you're lying to me or for me, but I want to find out. We get the like little bit of like runaway sequence here. Like, Tala beats her stormtroopers that are like taking her like along down like whatever path. Leia and Obi-Wan are battling. Riva is in pursuit with her own group of stormtroopers and stuff. We get Obi-Wan and Leia in a like underground or in a water bridge that has glass on all sides for whatever stupid reason. They have glass on all of those on all sides of this little bridge here. So naturally, Obi-Wan just being like woo 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 is deflecting all of these all of these blasters, all of these blaster shots, and one of them, of course, hits the glass and starts cracking it, and it starts, cracking it and breaking it a little bit. It's wild. We get the blast. We get the blast doors. There are I shouldn't say blast doors. Obi-Wan blasts the lock to the doors to have the doors auto shut to where you have to manually pry them open, that we've seen all throughout all kinds of Star Wars stuff. And so seeing that there is always nice. It's a nice little nod of that kind of thing. And but the water, the glass is breaking. Tala shows up. Her and Leia kind of get out of there while the stormtroopers break through that door and start shooting their little blasters a little bit. Then we move. Obi-Wan throws, lets the water and the glass break, throws the water that way, and runs out the other door as they lock it. And then they drowned everybody that was in there. They drowned them and kill them. They flood that hallway. They're making their way through the hangar bay now. We've got Talia in her uniform, and we've got Obi-Wan just in a big old trench coat. And we have basically Leia right next to him. So it's kind of funny. He definitely sticks out. I would say it almost looks like an upside down wine glass at the bottom, because he's got his legs, and that's basically where Leia is as well. And so it just looks like he's just it's just funny looking. And but Reva catches up with him. A traitor, a child, and an old man. Was it worth it? Oh man, she's good. She is so good. I am enjoying her more and more each episode. Reva here. Was it worth it? And Tala is this is never who I was. So this is being a part of the Empire is never who I was, and never who I wanted to be. And Reva's well, then you will die for nothing. And then we get the snowspeeder showing up, and this felt very much so a great Star Wars moment and feeling here for me. Because they show up, and they show up with the bay door looking out, and it's boop 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 boop. They destroy the entire hangar basically right there. Most of it. They destroy most of the hangar there, and that allows then Obi-Wan and Leia and Tala to escape and get into the other snowspeeder. They take off. The snowspeeders show up. They take off, and there's just chaos pursuing. The Inquisitors are on their way over there. The one pilot, Wade, is hanging around a little bit too long. Hanging out a little longer than he should have. Should have dipped out the second that they were all in that ship, but he hung out a little bit and distracted Reva a little bit, while the other ship with Leia and Obi-Wan and Tala and the other pilot was able to leave. And then Wade starts taking off, and of course Reva and fifth brother, they throw a bomb that explodes at the back end of Wade's ship, and Wade dies. Blows up the entire back end, and he just nosedives straight into the water. He could still be alive, but I'm pretty sure he's dead. Then we get the cut to Vader, and all the Inquisitors and a bunch of people waiting for Vader to get there. Reva is hanging out there as well, and Vader James Earl Jones comes hurling himself in there, or at least his voice does, And it's like, I told you what I warned you about defeat. I will tolerate weakness no more. And is like lifting Riva up while also force choking her at the same time. Oh man, it's great. It's great stuff right there. And Riva's able to get out a little bit. Let them go. And Vader's like, what? She's like, I'll let them go. I placed a tracker on the ship, which will give us the location of the network, of the path, and Kenobi will be ours. Then we get Vader being like, I may have underestimated you. And the fifth brother is like, but my lord, you know, the base was almost destroyed, and Vader just like ignores him and is strictly talking to Riva. And this shot is really awesome because it makes Vader look huge and big and menacing, and he takes up like the whole screen. And when he's talking down to Riva, it's a downward angle of him looking down at her, and when she is talking to him, it's an upward angle. And it's a great way that they do it, because the way that they have it angled, it even makes it look like he is bigger and taking up so much of the screen and stuff. And oh man, it was just cool to see. It was just really freaking cool to see them do that. And I love that huge, like, larger than life Vader shot. Like, it's perfect. It was beautiful for it. We get we get a cut back to Roken's ship, and in Roken's ship, he's like, hey, we're back, everyone's back, but not everyone is happy. Everyone's a little bummed. And then he's like, hey, where's Wade? And we get Tala being like, well, I guess you all are soldiers now. You are soldiers after all. Leia is sitting there, reaches for Obi-Wan's hand just for a little bit of comfort to, just have her hand be held. And he holds it. It's beautiful, beautiful freaking little moment here at the end. And then we see Lola come out with her eyes open, and they all seem red. And then the episode ends and the credits roll. The indication there, I think, at the end is that Riva did something to Lola to like put some sort of tracker or something in there, because there is a good bit of this episode of like in the interrogations once Lola goes after Riva at one point, where Riva is holding on to Lola and holding on to her and like making sure she's is like playing with her, almost trying to almost use it as like a way to make Leia, like to torture this might make Leia break in order, because Leia does respect droids and refers to them by name and everything like that. And so yeah, it was really interesting to see all that. I think it's Lola that it was. However, there is the chance that Tala really is a spy, and she may actually be up to nefarious stuff and may not be the friend that Kenobi and everyone, and who I hope that she really is. With that all being said, I'm going to wrap this up here. I am Jimmy with the Triple C Collective. I want to thank you for joining me on this Sci-Fi Sunday for Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4. I hope you all stay safe. May the Force be with you.